Hey guys, we're back, and today we're going to be looking at something a little bit differently. So we're going to be looking at something called standard form. Linear equations are also frequently written in standard form. Standard form is usually written like, well, it's always written ax plus by equals c. That's standard form, and that's how these four equations are set up for you. You see the x term, then the y term, and then that constant term, okay? So all four of these problems right here are set up in standard form. What we're gonna learn today is how to convert them into slope-intercept form. After that, we need to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So it'll probably help if we wrote down what slope-intercept form is. So you want to take it from standard form and put it into slope-intercept form. So that's y equals mx plus b. And we remember that our slope is always identified. That's our m, that's our slope. And the b is always our y-intercept. So here's our m, that's our slope. And the b is our y-intercept. So technically, we're solving for y. In order to get rid of everything around the y on this side of the equal sign in this equation, I need to get rid of this 2x. Currently, it's a positive 2x, so I need to subtract it. But when I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation. This goes away. I'm going to drop down what I have left over, which is y equals. Now I have two things over here. I have the 3 and the negative 2x. Now I know that my form has to have that x term come first, and I can't combine them because they're not like terms. If they both had an x, then they would be like terms. So I have to write this negative 2x first, and then this positive 3 at the end. Now, if I think about slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. They want us to identify our slope and our y-intercept. So right here under the m, I see our slope is negative 2. I want to make that a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1. Our y-intercept is right here, that b, but I'm going to make that into an ordered pair because the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. And I know that's 0, 3. So this ordered pair always just has a 0 in the front, and whatever that b is, goes right there. If it was minus 3, I'd put a negative 3. All right, so far so good. Let's continue. Number 2, we're trying to get this y by itself. I'm gonna draw my line so I can separate the two sides of that equal sign, or that equation. We need to get rid of this x term first. I'm going to subtract it on both sides. It goes away over here. I'm going to drop down my 5y, which is what's left over. I can't combine these. I'm going to want to write the x term first because that's what it's attached to. It is my slope. So my negative 4x, and then minus 30 is brought down. We still have the 5 attached to this y. I'm going to need to get rid of that. It's touching, which means it's being multiplied. And in order to undo multiplication, I need to divide. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. Just cancels out the 5's over there. I'm going to drop down my y equals. Negative 4 divided by 5 gives me negative 4/5. I'm going to leave it just like it is. Drop down my x. And negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. My slope, my m, is right there, negative 4/5. Rise over run. And my b, my y-intercept, is the ordered pair 0, and then that number right there, which is negative 6. All right, 2 down. Let's get a couple more under our belt. The more you practice, the easier this will become. All right, number 3. Trying to get this y by itself once again. There's the two sides of my equal sign. I know I need to get rid of this x right here. I'm going to put a 1 in front of it. You don't have to do that, but it really helps me. So I'm going to subtract 1x on both sides. I'm going to go away on the left. I can drop down what I have left over there, which is negative 3y equals. Then I'm going to write my negative 1x plus 12. Again, those are not like terms. We can't combine them. Next, this y is still attached to the negative 3. So I need to get rid of that. We need to divide everything by negative 3. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Just my negative 3's cancel out over there, giving me y equals. A negative divided by a negative would give me a positive, So I have 1/3 of x. And then 12 divided by -3 is -4. Now let's identify our slope and our y-intercept. So our slope is our m. And that's right there, always next to that x. So I have 1/3. And then my y-intercept is that b over there. I'm going to make that an ordered pair, 0, -4. All right, number 4. I'm just going to throw a 1 right in front of this guy right here. And I'm going to throw a 1 right in front of that. You definitely don't have to do that, but for me, it helps me to remember when I divide or I have a negative that I don't drop those signs. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of everything around the y. So I'm going to subtract my 1x. Goes away over here. I'm going to drop down my -1y equals -1x minus 8. My last step, I need to get this y by itself. So I need to divide by -1 on both sides. So everything needs to be divided by -1. They cancel out on the left, giving me just y equals. And then a negative divided by negative is a positive 1/1x plus 8. Because -8 divided by -1 is a positive 8. Alrighty, let's look at our slope. Our slope is right next to that x, it's that 1/1. And the y-intercept is the b, and that's the ordered pair 0, 8. All right, there's the first 4. Let me scroll up, we can take a look at a few more. So again, we're starting out in standard form, so it's good to familiarize yourself with this form, seeing the x term coming first, then the y, the equal sign, and then the constant term, that number without a variable. But again, we work with slope-intercept form, so we want to put it into y equals mx plus b. Remember, our slope is our m, that's our rise over run. And our y-intercept is an ordered pair where the line crosses the y-axis. All right, number 5. I'm going to try to get this y by itself. I need to get rid of this 4x first. It's a positive, so I'm going to subtract it. It goes away on the left. I drop down my -1y equals -4x plus 0. Next, I need to get rid of the -1, so I need to divide by -1. Cancels out over here. We get y equals negative divided by negative is a positive. 4/1x, and then 0 divided by anything is 0. Now, you can write this in 2 different ways. You can write it like that, or you can also write it just y equals 4/1x. You don't have to have that. However, if you see it written like this, you just want to know that that means your y-intercept is a 0. So my slope here is 4/1, and my y-intercept is 0, 0, which means it crosses the y-axis right at that origin. Number 6, draw my line, circle my y. Gotta get rid of that x term by subtracting. This goes away. Drop down your -2y equals -3x minus 14. Again, you want to get in the habit of putting the x term first because that will put it in the form y equals mx plus b. Okay, that's why we put this one before that constant. Last, I need to divide by -2. These cancel out. I get y equals a negative divided by negative is a positive 3/2x, and then that gives me a positive 7. Slope of that line is 3/2, and my y-intercept is 0, positive 7. Hopefully you're catching on. Let's keep going. Draw your line, circle your y. Let's get rid of that x term. I'm going to need to add it because it's a negative this time, so I'm going to add 6x over here. Goes away. 4y equals, gotta write that 6x first, plus 20. Excellent. Next, I need to divide by 4. These go away. I get y equals, and if I threw 6/4 as a fraction into my calculator, it would simplify to 3/2. X. And then 20 divided by 4 is a positive 5. Leaving my slope to be 3/2, and my y-intercept to be 0, 5. Now if you graph this line without simplifying your slope, you'd have the same line, but we definitely want to see you simplify to the lowest form with your slopes. Number 8, trying to get this y by itself. I'm going to put a 1 in front of that x and subtract that right away. So now I have 5y equals negative 1x minus 15. Next I need to divide by 5 to get the y by itself, leaving me y equals negative 1/5 x minus 3. My slope is going to be negative 1/5. My y-intercept is 0, negative 3. All right, there's some good examples for you to follow along. I would like you to try some on your own now, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.